Rest of this chapter, so like we did checking accounts, we did like check registries, writing checks, balancing, and all of that. But now we're going to kind of shift gears into savings accounts. And this chapter, like this whole last part of it, there's a lot of formulas that come with it. Today and tomorrow we're going to work on simple interest, which is the easiest formula. And then next week you will have a formula sheet. I do not expect you to memorize them. I don't have them memorized. Yeah, it's nuts. Why would you ever? Some of these formulas are huge. Like, why would you ever memorize them? So starting today into next week, we're going to deal with all these crazy formulas because there's different ways that you can earn interest on things, right? Whether you put money in an account and it sits there for 20 years, right? And it's compounded daily or weekly or monthly or whatever. Or if you put money in like every week or every month or every year, like, and how things kind of add up. Okay, so this rest of this chapter is all about different like, savings accounts you can have. All right, but today is just simple interest. Today should be a pretty easy day. All right, so first thing, what is a savings account? You put money in it. Good. Can you write a check from it? No, that would be a checking account. No, you cannot. How many of you have a savings account, like an actual savings? Good. How many of you have savings and checking? I'm impressed. Nice. You probably have to have at least like 25 bucks in it. Otherwise, they'll close it out. It's going to also depend. Not all accounts. Like mine, I know if I drop below 25, you're done. Like they'll close it. I honestly don't know. So you might have a different type of savings account, which probably means it has the most tiny interest rate or no interest rate on it. Yeah, usually the savings accounts, like the higher minimum balance that you're like required to keep in there, the higher the interest rate is that you earn money on it. So, all right, but savings account, an account in which the bank pays interest for the use of the money deposited in the account. You guys are aware though that your money doesn't just sit in like a box somewhere, right, and wait for you? You thought it did? Like, yeah, they're just holding it for me. I got my own piggy bank in the bank, right? Yeah. And they come and steal it? You know the bank uses your money, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. They're paying you interest so they can use your money. So you make money off of it. If you're like me and you don't have a lot of money in your savings account, you get that statement every month. You're like, woohoo, I made a penny this month. Great interest, right? Ooh, 5 cents. You're loaded. Amanda? Yes. Yeah, you can take your money out anytime you wanted to. All right, and then interest, we're kind of throwing that word around. It's a percentage of money in an account that the bank pays. So typically, savings accounts, you may earn like 0.5% interest, maybe 1%. If you have a higher minimum balance, you might earn like 2%, 2.5% interest. And we'll talk throughout the rest of this chapter. There's different ways that they, like pay you this interest. Sometimes they'll, it'll compound monthly. So every month they'll take how much is in there, pay you interest on that. Sometimes they do it daily. So every day how much you have in, they're going to pay you interest on that, and it keeps adding on to it. Sometimes they're like, all right, this is how much you put in to begin with. That's all I'm ever paying you interest on. And they don't have it compound onto that. So it just kind of depends what type of account you have when you set it up. Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep. So when you pick in a savings account, like those are questions you'd want to ask. What type of interest rate does this have? Does it compound monthly, weekly, yearly? Like how does it compound? Yeah, definitely questions you want to ask. All right, what about your principal? It's Mr. Kurtz, right? Mr. Kurtz? Is that the principal I'm talking about? No. Yeah. I used to always think it was with money, and it's not. It is P-A-L. Yeah. Because I, for the longest time, kept writing it P-L-E at the end. And then, like, every textbook I look at, it's P-A-L. I know, it blew my mind as well, because I thought it would be P-L-E at the end. That would be P-L-E instead of P-A-L at the end. But your principal amount is the balance in an account or the amount that you borrow if you're taking out a loan. And we'll talk about loans as well. All right, so the amount of money, like let's say I deposit $5,000 into a savings account and just let it sit and grow money. Right, the principal amount is the $5,000. It's the amount I initially put in. Or you're going to buy a car and you borrowed $20,000. The principal amount you borrowed would be $20,000. Does anybody know the formula for simple interest? I equals, have you heard it before? That's E equals MC squared. That's energy, and no, that's not. That's a whole nother discussion. Yeah. Let's move that so you can see it. Sorry. Sorry. Simple interest, though, the formula is I equals PRT. Anybody ever heard that formula before? I equals PRT? I'm surprised by that. Yeah, you have? Okay, a couple of you. This is simple interest, okay? Most times it's not as simple as this, but this is simple interest. I is the interest that you've earned. P is the principal amount. See there, I didn't fix my spelling. P-L-E in the end of principal. Principal amount. R is the rate expressed as a decimal. So again, anytime you have an interest rate, we're always using them as decimals. And then T is time in years. And that's important that you note that. That's always years for time. Okay, because if I tell you it's been 3.5 years, you know, you need to be able to recognize how to put that in. If it's been, you know, I don't know, if I tell you it's 18 months, you'd have to tell me what that was in years. It is. Okay. For money, it's A-L, P-A-L. See, I went to try to fix some of my notes. I missed one. All right, so right now, can I ask you to memorize your formulas? You can't memorize I equals PRT? I hope that one you can memorize. What are you confused on? You multiply. Those are letters, Brian, part of the alphabet. It's 4 of the 26 letters that you should know. Yeah. Nope, that's it. I'm going to give you your homework and we're done. You ready? All right, anybody still writing? Can I move on? You guys going to yell at me? Okay. All right, next thing is a money market account. Have you heard of that? Interesting. A money market account has a higher interest rate, requires a greater initial deposit and minimum balance. So we actually kind of mentioned those. I just didn't call it by its name. So you might have a minimum balance of like $5,000, minimum balance of 10 grand. I don't know about you guys, but that's not something that's in my vocabulary. I don't have extra money sitting around like that. I feel you. Sometimes like 25 bucks, I gotta have how much in there? It's ridiculous. So yeah. Yeah. Because they use that money to loan to other people. Mm-hmm. Then you better hope somebody else has put money in so you can have money to take out. Yeah. Your banks are insured too, so like something happens and everybody goes on the same day and takes all their money out and they don't have any money left, that can't happen. I don't know what world you live in, but I ain't got $600,000 in there. Yeah, it's only assured up to a certain amount. All right. And then a certificate of deposit, known as a CD. It's a certificate that states a deposit and guarantees the payment of a fixed interest rate after a certain period of time. Deposits and withdrawals cannot be, made with a CD. So like at one point, my aunt had gotten me a $1,000 CD when I was younger. And I thought it was the coolest thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have $1,000. I was like 12, so it was like $1 million to me, right? But I had to wait until I was 18 before I could take it out. I mean, thanks. I mean, it was nice when I turned 18, I graduated and took that money out. But a CD is they put money in. In my mind, I always picture an actual CD case because it's called a CD. It's not at all what it's like. But in my mind, that's how I picture it. I picture it like a CD case. They put the money in there and they close the CD case over it, and I can't open it until how many years go by. In my mind, that's how it seems. The reason people do this, because once you put money in, you can't put any more in it. Like you can't keep adding to it. And you can't take it out until the number of years that you set it up for is over. But the reason people do it is it guarantees the interest rate. Because a lot of times accounts, like the interest rate will fluctuate depending on what's going on in the world. So for these, if they say, hey, you're going to get 5%, even if the economy like tanks, they'll still pay you the 5% interest on that. Okay? So that's why people use CDs. It's a guaranteed percentage. Whenever you set it up, whatever a percent you get then, you get no matter what. But in my mind, that visual of the CD case closing and like locking, like that's how I picture that. Like once it's in, I can't put any more in. I can't take it out until, if it's a 5-year CD, then for 5 years. 10-year CD, then 10 years goes by before I can touch it again. That's the only bad thing is if you get in a hard spot financially, you can't take that money back out. It's theirs. It should say made. Yeah, apparently I had a lot of typos when I typed this. Sorry. Yeah. See, I know that Daisy actually reads what she's writing and tries to comprehend, where others of you just blindly write, whatever. That's fine, totally fine. Whatever works for you so you understand what it is. No, I want you to question. Whoever taught you not to question? I make mistakes all the time. Question me. I'm human. It happens. Have any of you ever had a CD? Like this kind of CD, not a music CD? You're like, yeah, I got CDs. Wait, you still have CDs? Anybody have cassette tapes? Yeah? Anybody got records? A couple of you? Nice. You guys know what 8 tracks are? Yeah. An 8 track? I've never actually played them. Nice, nice. Okay, so let's actually do some math then. I'm sorry. So example 1, Grace wants to deposit $5,000 into a certificate of deposit, or a CD, for a period of 2 years. She is comparing interest rates quoted by 3 local banks and 1 online bank. Write the interest rates in ascending order. Which bank pays the highest interest for this 2-year CD? So we have to do 2 things. 1, we have to put them in ascending. What's that mean? Ascending order. Nathan? Does it start low and go high or start high and go low? I go higher. Good. I think if I'm ascending the stairs, I'm going up the stairs. So it starts low, it takes them up. And descending, I'd be like I'm going down the stairs, highest to lowest. All right. So right now we're supposed to put them in the right order, but can you tell by the way they're written what the right order should be? Can you compare them like that? 4 3/8, 4 1/4, 4.22, and 4.3. So what should I do before I even put them in the right order? Amanda? Perfect. Let's change those fractions into decimals and make us figure out which one's what. So what's 1/4? That's 25. So that would be 4.25%. 4.22, 4.3, and then what's 3/8? If you don't know, that would be 3 divided by 8. What'd you say? Good. So that would be 4.375. So yeah, for those guys, if you don't know what it is, just divide it, literally 3 divided by 8, and it'll tell you what it is as a decimal. All right, so if I'm going in ascending, what is the lowest interest rate? 4.22. 4.22, which is Johnson. All right, which one's next? First State, 4.25, or 4 1/4. Okay, next. Land savings, good, the 4.3. And then the highest interest rate, that eSave. All right, so we put them in order. Which bank pays the highest interest? The online. Not shocking, it's the online bank. That's the highest. Yeah. Just like anything else, you can usually get things cheaper online, right? The better deals are online a lot of times. Okay. Example number 2. So you're not done yet? You guys know you should write while I'm writing, right? That's why I talk all the time, so you can, like, write as I talk. Or some of you have already tuned me out, right? You guys, Charlie Brown, the teacher. Is that what you guys hear? Yeah, you're so funny. Hunter, are you good, hon? Okay. All right, example 2. Ralph's savings account must have at least $500 or he's charged a $4 fee. So, Brian, that is not the account you want to have. You and your penny, okay? His balance was $716.23 when he withdrew $225. What was his balance? What? It's below 500, which means what's going to happen? He's going to get charged that $4 fee. So nice. So all we have to do then, $716.23. We're going to withdraw his $225. Yeah, when he withdraws that, he drops to $491.23. Yes. So once he drops below, right away, what does the bank do? It pulls out another $4. Isn't that nice of the bank? So unless you are confident that you can keep that minimum balance, don't open an account like that. Otherwise, all of your money just gets taken out of your account anyway. So $487.23. Yep. It's usually each day. Yeah. So yeah, you go find a friend and get yourself $13 to get that back to $500. Yeah. Well, that's the type of account you set up. Like, so again, be careful when you set up an account. Ask, what's the minimum balance? Because you don't want to lose the rest of your money. Usually within that day's banking hours, typically. So wait, hold on. What's the question about the interest rate? It depends on the account. Sometimes they compound the interest daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. It just depends on the account that you set up. How often they actually give you that interest. I think typically they're monthly for the most part would be my guess. I'm not in the world of banking, so I couldn't tell you for sure. Yeah. Right? That's how the bank makes money. That's how they stay in business. All right. Example 3, Daisy. Depends when it posts. So like if I go after hours, I do it online, a lot of times it will tell you this will not post until the next day's banking. So I would say it depends on your bank. If it would be in there like as soon as they open banking hours and it goes through, I would think you'd be fine. But if you'd wait until the bank opens at 8 and you wait until 9 o'clock, you may still get charged, just depending. Depends on your bank. And sometimes you can argue that and go to the bank and be like, hey, my money's in there. Can I not be charged the fee? And sometimes they'll waive the fee. So don't be afraid to go and ask your bank too. Okay. That's another thing, guys. When you get loans and things through your bank, and we'll talk more about loans in a little bit, but like let's say like you get paid on certain days, you know, every other 2 weeks or whatever, and your loan payments are like on the wrong part of the month for you, like you're like, oh, if I had that loan payment in the beginning of the month, I'd have more money and I could pay it on time better. Talk to your bank. They'll change it for you. You know, they want their money, so they're like, oh, you can pay it every month. If I move your payment, of course I'll move it. Okay, so that's another thing. People don't think to ask the bank things like that. They'll work with you. All right, so example 3. Mitchell deposits $1,200 in an account that pays 4.5% simple interest. He keeps the money in the account for 3 years without any deposits or withdrawals. How much is in the account after 3 years? Daisy? Okay, so let's talk real quick here, because I know what's going to happen as this chapter progresses. You end up with, I believe there's 6 formulas. And the biggest, hardest part of this chapter is, which formula do I use? So right now, obviously, it's easy. We only have one formula. But do you see the word simple interest? Look for that. Okay. What's the simple interest formula? Yes. I equals PRT. So I see the word simple interest. So my brain's like, all right, that's I equals PRT. And now let's just fill in what we know. So Mitchell deposits $1,200. Is that the interest? Is that the principal? Yeah, that's the principal. So that's your P value. So that's $1,200. Right. Pays 4.5%. What is that? That's your interest or the rate. That's R. That's your rate. That's your rate. So what is 4.5% as a decimal? There you go. Again, if you're unsure, because a couple of you are still struggling where to put that decimal, divide it by 100. Okay, 4.5 divided by 100 switches it to 0.045. So if you're ever unsure. All right, and he keeps the money in the account for 3 years. What's that? That's the time. So 3. So if I solve this, what is it going to tell me? That's going to tell me how much interest he's earned. Okay? So go ahead and figure that out for me. What's 1,200 times 0.045 times 3? $162. So I equals 162. Done? Move on. Did I answer the question? Question asks, how much is in the account after 3 years? We add that back onto your principal. The 162, he didn't start with 1,200 and then 3 years later only has $162. That's a terrible savings account. That's how much interest he earns in that amount of time. So we add that back on, 1,362. So that's how much money is now in the account. Okay, he's earned interest. All right. So is that a good payoff? $1,200, you let it sit for 3 years, and now you have 1,362. I mean, it's free money, right? You didn't do anything for it. You just left it sit. So if you can afford to leave money sitting in an account to earn interest, it's a good idea. But a lot of people can't afford that, right? They don't have the extra cash. All right, example 4. How much simple interest does $2,000 earn in 7 months at an interest rate of 5%? Daisy? It did. So your time, right? This is time, but time should be in years. So how do you figure 7 months? As a fraction, it'd be 7 out of 12. 7 out of 12. You could. I would type it in as a fraction. It's just easier. But yeah, 7 out of 12, that's your time, because that time is always in years. So again, I'm recognizing it says simple interest, so my brain automatically says I equals PRT. So what's the 2,000? What's that? That's your principal. Rate? Good, 0.05. And then the time, 7 out of 12. So be very careful. If you would have put just 7 there, how much time would it assumed it had been? 7 years. And we're only talking 7 months. So all of this, when I multiply, this is going to solve for me the interest, how much interest is earned. So we figure it out? Is that your own personal one? It may not have it if it's not updated. Right, it's typically the green button and y equals. Oh, yours is there. Some of them are not updated, that's why I didn't know. So green button, y equals, and then just hit enter. And then you can put your fraction. All right, so how much? $58 exactly? Did your calculator seriously give you just 58 even? Oh, she switched it to a decimal. So how'd that fare for you? Not great. All right, guys, make sure if we use fractions, are they exact? Okay, guys, use fractions. Don't round off decimals at any point until your final answers, okay? So $58, and that was 0.33333333333. We're talking money, so it's always 2 spots. Did I answer the question this time? How much simple interest? Yes, I just wanted to know how much interest they earn. So they earned $58 in just 7 months. That's not so bad. All right, number 5. How much simple interest would $800 earn in 300 days in a non-leap year at an interest rate of 5.71%? Round to the nearest cent. Daisy? Here, what part out, hon? For the fraction? Oh, it's green. And then the y equals. Oh, yeah, you got all kinds of crazy. You might want to clear that out. Yeah, green and then y equals. All right, guys. So again, as I'm reading this, I know this seems easy at this point because it's the only formula we have, but I want you to start to recognize how do you tell which formula. This one's the easiest to recognize, yet people mess it up all the time. It says simple interest right in it. Good. All right, so what's $800? What is this? That's your P. 300 days? Yes. And then my rate, so 0.0571. And that would be 300 out of 365. Again, time is always in years, so we can't write 300 in there, or I'd be implying 300 years. No one's around to get that money anyway. Right? Be way down the line. If that bank's even still there. All right, so how much interest do we earn? Good. So as money, how would you read that? Right. Read that answer as money. There we go. Okay, I think a lot of us are not in the mindset of we're always talking about money in here. Some of you are still leaving like $37.5. What the heck is $37.5? $37.50, right? Like we need to get used to writing 2 decimals here for money. All right, so we clear on the time has to be in years. So you got to convert everything back to that. All right. Ooh, I have 2 example 5s. Look at that. Man, I was having an off day. Example 6. How much principal, I didn't change my spelling, how much principal must be deposited to earn $1,000 simple interest in 2 years at a rate of 5%? this different than the last questions we've had? Yeah, it's different. Now again, I'm seeing the word simple interest, so my brain's like I equals PRT. Have you noticed I've written that formula down on every single problem? Do you think I still do that, even myself now, on every answer key that I make? I do. It helps to see the formula and then plug stuff in. All right, so how much principal must be deposited to earn $1,000 simple interest? So what's the 1,000? That's I. It wants to earn $1,000 in interest. Holy smokes, it's a lot. What you said is incorrect, but I don't think that's what you meant. You said it backwards. All right, so do I know what the P is? No, I don't know. Who said X? It's a P. Don't change to an X. All right, do we know the rate? 0.05. Otherwise, that's a heck of a rate. And T is 2 years. All right, so this is slightly different than my last problem because I'm not just going to multiply everything together and call it good. What should I do first? Yeah, let's multiply the rate and time here. 0.05 times 2 is 0.1. Okay, then what? And then divide by the 0.1. Daisy, I'm pretty sure that's what you meant. I thought you did. You said divide by 1,000. You said it backwards. So how much money would you have to put in there? $10,000. I mean, if you want to earn $1,000 in interest in only 2 years, you're going to have to put a lot of money in to start with. You got that kind of money laying around? Yeah, I wish to. Depends on how many bills you got, right? All right, let's stop right there for a minute. Okay, that's a good question. Let's talk about what all the pieces are, okay? Let's just kind of take it one step at a time, because this is the type of question that people mess up probably the most often. So right now, we need to recognize it says simple interest. So I equals P R T. All right, so let's kind of fill in what we do know. What's 4.1%? That's the rate. So 0.041. Okay. What is the 910? That's your P. That's the balance. That's how much we have right now. Because the question is, when will my account have $1,000 in it? So is $1,000 the interest? That's the rate. The capital I stands for the money that you've earned in interest. So if the 1,000's not the amount of interest, that's the ending principal. So, yes. 1,000 minus 910, how much money do I need to earn in interest to have $1,000? 90. So my interest is 90. That is by far the trickiest one, because students are so used to being like, oh, there's my numbers, click, 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 poke them right out of the problem, stick them in, and they don't do much else with it. This one you got to be careful, because I have 910. I want to know how long it's going to take before I have 1,000. Doesn't mean I want $1,000 in interest. I need another 90 to get me to 1,000. So I need $90 in interest. What about T? It's just T. That's the part I don't know, because the question asked, when will it be? So when is asking the time. So what should I do first? Multiply. 910 times 0.041. Good. 3731 t equals 90. Then what? Then divide. So t equals, Max, I heard you say it earlier. Good. 2.4 years. But can you see how that type of question will confuse a lot of students? Yeah, because people typically just want to pull every number out of the problem and use it. And this one is not set up that way. All right, we got one to go? One to go. We're almost done, guys. All right, so example 7. Carrie invests $5,000 in a simple interest account for 5 years. What interest rate must the account pay so there is a $6,000 at the end of 5 years? Take a minute. Don't let me say anything right now. Max, put that away, please. So take a minute. Just set up the equation. Don't actually solve it yet, but just take a minute to write down what you think the equation should look like. All right, again, just kind of making sure that we're recognizing this says simple interest. So I equals PRT. She invests $5,000. What is that? That's your P. Okay, we have what interest rate? So that's the R, I don't know. And then time, it's 5 years, right there. What's the interest? It's 1,000, because I want there to be $6,000, and I started with 5,000, which means I need $1,000 in interest. If you put 6,000 there, that means that you want 6,000 interest to give you $11,000. I mean, we all want more money, but that's not what it's asking. Okay? So clean up this side first. 5,000 times 5 is 25,000. And then we divide by 25,000. So what do we get for R? Okay, no, I heard two different things there. If you divide, you get 0.04. That is 4%. Now, how people will miss this problem is they'll get 0.04 and they'll put a percent sign on the end of it. Is that the same thing as this? No. If you write 0.04%, that's like 4/100ths of a percent. That's way less than 1, right? No, I want 4%. So you need to recognize that change from decimal back to percentage. All right. Questions on anything for simple interest? Okay, your homework assignment tonight it is worksheet, but make sure I put a note on here. Skip 11G and 12. Because I did not cross it off on here. So make sure you make a note to skip 11G and 12 when I pass this out.